The whispering forest. All night the forest on the hill whispered like 1,000 secrets, learning how to be kind. Window panes tickled, curtains trembled as if trying not to giggle. In the little town, people kept saying, "Hush," but the forest answered, "Shh," like a friendly snake telling stories. "I'll go ask the forest to use its indoor voice," said Nico at breakfast. They tied a red ribbon around their wrist to remember gentleness, packed a cheese sandwich, a smooth pebble, and an empty glass jar, not for fireflies, just for breath. At the last garden gate, a pocket-sized wizard hopped out of a watering can. He wore a thistle fluff vest and a hat that hiccuped bubbles. "Good morning," he chirped. "I'm Mr. Thimble. Journeys need 3 invisible tools." People begged for swords and maps, but what works is this. He placed nothing into Nico's hands. Patience, for when the path argues. Self-control, for when your feet sprint ahead of your heart. Kindness, for when someone else's worry sounds like a growl. He tucked a silver-tipped feather behind Nico's ear. "If things wobble, breathe with this feather. Slow in, slow out." "Thank you," said Nico, as the jar chimed in the backpack and the ribbon warmed like a tiny sundae. The forest swallowed them in gentle green. Ferns hissed advice. Birches hummed like sleepy bees. A squirrel pointed up as if the answer lived on a cloud. A hedgehog waddled out, sniffing hopefully. "Do you have jam?" "Only cheese," said Nico. "Cheese can pretend to be jam," the hedgehog decided, and accepted half a sandwich with ceremony. "I am Captain Prickle, trail manager and caterpillar consultant," it announced, crumbs on its whiskers. At the first fork, the forest began talking all at once. "Left," hissed ferns. "Right," sang birches. "Up," squeaked the squirrel. "Snack," advised Captain Prickle. Nico's feet twitched. Their ears wanted to chase every voice. Instead, Nico held the jar, touched the feather, and breathed as if filling the jar with calm, then poured that calm back into the day. "I can wait," they whispered. "I can listen." The noise softened like a crowd remembering a lullaby. Low on the ground, a velvet ribbon of moss glowed. "North," breathed the moss. "Step as if your feet are sipping tea." "Thank you," said Nico, and followed. Captain Prickle marched beside them, brave as a pocket knight. A brook arrived in sparkles and enthusiastic splashes. "Hello!" it shouted. "What a beautiful day to be loud about kind things!" Nico felt a giggle tumble and an urge to stomp splash back. But self-control is choosing, not being dragged. Nico knelt, dipped quiet fingers, and said softly, "Hello, may I cross?" The brook listened, then whispered, "Hello, yes." Round stones rose like plates. Nico stepped lightly, while Captain Prickle sailed on a leaf, rowing with a stick and announcing, "Admiral Prickle reports calm waters." On the far bank, a cloud of mirror moths shimmered. Their wings reflected faces and moods. A smile blossomed into 100 smiles. "Careful," hummed the moss. "If you storm, they storm." Nico held the jar, breathed once, twice, and the moths settled, parting like a silver curtain. A stump scooted close, creaking. "You're on my thinking spot," it grumbled. "Sorry," said Nico, stepping aside. "Want to think together?" The stump blinked. "Cocoa voices," it advised. "Warm, not boiling. The heart tree likes those." A whoosh of fluffy wings swept overhead, winged rabbits, eager to fly in a neat V and instead making a scribble. "Ready, set, flop," cried one. A little rabbit skidded to Nico's feet. "Help," We want to make a beautiful V like geese, but we keep making a donut. Nico touched the feather. In breath, wings up. Out breath, wings glide. We'll count together. In 1, 2 lift. Out 1, 2 glide. The scribble straightened. Soon the sky wore a tidy V and a very proud check mark. Hop on, called a rabbit. The hollow is dramatic today. Nico climbed onto the softest back. Captain Prickle tucked into a pocket like a determined potato, and they sailed above ferns and foxgloves. Below, a trembling worry puddle swelled whenever a frog stomped. Nico waved. "You're okay, puddle." It calmed into a brave oval. They landed by the bramble hollow, where vines curled like sleepy snakes and blackberries shone like tiny moons. At the center stood the heart tree, an ancient oak with a bell carved into its trunk. The bell made no sound. It made hush, the sort that lets you hear your own heartbeat. Today the bell's quiet was dim, like a lamp that forgot its switch. Thorns rustled. "Stay back," growled a voice, all prickles and panic. Captain Prickle mouthed, "Monster," and hid behind Nico's sock. The brambles bundled into a dragon-shaped pointy, worried, trying to seem fierce. Nico's chest squeezed for a heartbeat. It's okay to feel that, they thought. Feel it, then choose. They rested a palm on the jar, breathed, and lit a small lantern of calm inside their ribs. "I won't hurt you," Nico said in Coco voice. "Are you guarding something?" The bramble dragon sagged. "I panicked," it admitted, unweaving into a velvet tunnel. In a nest cradled by vines sat 3 speckled eggs, and wedged among them a round glowing pebble, the color of quiet dawn, the quiet seed from the bell. A magpie hopped near, glossy and guilty. "I only meant to borrow it," she blurted. The wind howled, my eggs shivered, and hush felt like a blanket I couldn't let go. The brambles shouted, "Keep it!" And then everyone grew noisier, because I took the quiet. The vines rustled, sheepish. "We hold on too hard," they confessed. "We tried to help. Holding tight can squeeze someone else's peace," said Nico. "Try soft holding." The brambles softened, practicing gentle. Captain Prickle bravely rolled into a ball. "Portable pedestal," he declared. "Egg elevator very safe." Nico slid their hands under the quiet seed. The vines flinched, remembered soft holding, and opened. The magpie's voice wobbled. "Will my eggs be all right without borrowed hush?" Nico touched the feather. "Let's give them a different quiet," they said. "Breathe with me. In 1, 2, a 1, 2. The magpie breathed. The eggs settled, comforted by rhythm instead of stolen magic. Nico pressed the quiet seed back into the bell's cradle. The heart tree drank the glow and poured hush like warm tea into 100 cups. Leaves sighed. The brook chuckled. What a nice day to not yell. The mirror moths folded like polite fans. Even the stump smiled in rings. A round door opened in the trunk. Mr. Thimble stepped out, brushing crumbs. "Splendid returning," he said. "Old magic, best magic, patience, self-control, kindness." He tapped the jar. "And breath. Your breath is the lantern you carry." The brambles unwound their dragon and formed a cuddling fence. "We are good at soft now," they said, proud. "You are," Nico agreed. The magpie placed a bright button in Nico's hand. "A token of enough," she said. "Touch it when you forget you already have what you need for the next kind step." On the way home, rabbits drew a tidy 5 and then a happy check. The stump waved a root. Conclusion: most problems need a slower cup of tea. The worry puddle was so small that two frogs used it as a teacup and clinked lily pads. At the brook, stones rose before Nico asked. "Thank you for your soft voice," whispered the water. Captain Prickle tried to carry 3 pebbles to look official and dropped them on his own paw. "Gravity audit complete," he announced. "Still working." At the fork, no one argued. The moss glowed northish. The forest's whisper sounded like pages turning in a cozy book, polite, shared, and full of stories. At the town's edge, windows stood open to the warm hush. People could hear their thoughts. Cats could hear their purrs. Even the clock learned Coco voice. A few gulls tried whispering squeep, which made everyone laugh. Grandma waited with a hug that smelled like soap and honey. "Well?" she asked. "Well?" Nico said, setting the jar on the sill. It didn't look empty anymore. It held the memory of calm breaths and soft choices. The red ribbon gave a happy wiggle. The silver feather shone like a wink. That evening, the heart tree's hush drifted over the hill. The magpie breathed steady on her nest. The brambles cuddled low. The rabbits practiced one more V, and then wrote a wiggly "hi" in the air. The mirror moths made a tiny constellation that looked suspiciously like Captain Prickle, who pretended not to notice and then noticed very hard. Mr. Thimble tipped his bubble hiccup hat. "Remember," he called softly, "you do not carry the whole forest. You carry your breath, your choices, your kindness. That is enough." Nico watched leaves sway without fuss and felt their chest rise and fall like a calm tide. They touched the bright button, the ribbon, and the pebble, small things, but enough, and whispered a thought gentle as moonlight, a thought they could tuck into any noisy day. "I don't need the world to go quiet before I feel calm. If I wait, breathe, and choose kindness, I carry my own hush wherever I go."